Hello, twisted humans.
Do you find yourself wanting to know more about the latest murder, conspiracy, cult, or haunting?
Then this is the podcast for you. I'm Alecia.
And I'm Sierra, and this is Twisted and Uncorked.
We are on episode 59.
We are.
Yeah. I was going to say
We just keep on
59,
going.
feeling fine, but only half of us is feeling fine today, so.
The other half is not feeling unfine. It's just
The other half is tired.
Yeah.
And I am just slap happy. I'm excited. Yeah. We appreciate all of you guys so much. Friendly reminder also, in addition to Patron, just a friendly reminder that the best thing you can do for us is leave us a 5-star review. It is a free way to help us, other than telling your friends and family to go and listen, which I know many of you have, and we really appreciate. And you can do that on Podchaser, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. 87% of our listeners are listening on Apple Podcasts. I'm looking at all of you. You can't see me looking at you, but I am. So go and leave those 5-star reviews and ratings. Even if you just want to leave an emoji. You don't even have to put effort into it. We like emojis. It just really helps other people find us. And we are doing a draw every month to enter you in to win a free month of Patreon. You don't have to be an existing patron. We will just give you an account to go and enjoy for a month. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Without further ado, before we dive in, Sierra, do you have a fun fact for me?
I do. My fun fact is, I don't know if we've said this before. We've said so many fun facts now that it's getting hard.
59 episodes in, we're not sure anymore.
Right. The vibrator was originally invented as a medical device.
No.
Yeah. So, in the olden days, orgasms were believed to be a cure to many medical ailments.
They are.
You know, they didn't happen very often.
Still a belief. That's still a thing.
Oh, wow, that must be magic. Yeah.
Hey, it's true. They say that orgasms lead to a healthier metabolism, lower blood pressure, happier overall.
So get
well-being.
Your insurance to pay for your vibrator.
Yeah, I think that's fair. My fun fact is so you've been bringing so many fun laws, so I'm bringing you a Canadian one.
Okay.
In Churchill, Manitoba, it is not a formal law, but it is customary, it's like one of those things that it's like everybody knows to do this, to leave your car doors unlocked in case somebody needs to seek shelter from a polar bear.
Oh my God.
There's an estimated population of 935 polar bears in the western Hudson Bay area, which is where Churchill, Manitoba is. And as a response to the frequent bear visits, the town established this Bear Alert program.
How about as a response to the bear population, humans shouldn't live there?
Yeah, well.
Polar bears literally hunt and eat humans. They're the only bear known to do that, and you're just living amongst them? Why?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but...
I couldn't tell you. And this is going to make you upset. Part of this program includes having your car doors unlocked for safety if necessary. If the bear enters too far into town, a team will tranquilize the bear and take them to a holding center known by locals as Polar Bear Jail before they're released back into the wild after assessment and they're able to come to again. Thanks to the program, though, this particular town in Manitoba has not had a bear-related fatality since the early 1980s. So, leaving your car door unlocked seems to help.
Move to a warmer climate. Weirdos. Gosh.
Move to where there is no polar bears.
Yeah.
But also, they're beautiful creatures and take care of the planet because they're moving into places like this where they shouldn't be because their homes are melting. So, putting that out there also. Get your reusable straws, recycle your freaking wine bottles, and, yeah. And speaking of wine, today we are drinking Panetti Notte Pinot Grigio. We have an Italian white here. It's been a while since we ventured out of the United States. I think the last Italian wine we did was Sierra's favorite red, the Roscato red blend. And this one is medium-bodied with notes of peach and citrus. It also has subtle hints of white pepper. It was labeled as being quite dry, but all of the reviews that I saw said it was pretty easy to drink, and I kind of went into a sip knowing that it was on the dry side, and I'm pleasantly surprised. It's one of those wines that I think Sierra will describe as water, but we'll see in a second here. And I just want to pair this with a big old bowl of pasta and a sunny patio and all of the bread and just hang out with my girl here. But we're recording a podcast episode, so I'll take that too. That's good. I like it. I really enjoyed it. And funny enough, mine came the only bottle that I could find, because this particular winery only does small batches, was a slightly bigger than normal wine bottle. So apparently they have 1 liter wine bottles, and I've never seen one before, but that's what this one was. So I was like, I'm just going to take it and run. I think yours was a 2018, is that right? Or 2019?
2020.
Oh, okay. Mine's a 2019. So maybe that's why. Maybe they were like, we'll just make some big wine bottles this year. I actually had to compare it to a regular wine bottle in the liquor store, because I was like, it almost looks normal,
right,
but slightly different. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this? And I'm like, oh, it's bigger. So it's not bad.
It is good.
What would you rate this one?
Probably an 8. An 8 out of 10.
I'm going to give it the same. But before we get into this case this week, because it's not, I shouldn't go into a cult case saying it's a bummer, but cults are hard. You know, there's usually a lot of trauma, a lot of pain, a lot of abuse involved. My particular cult this week is similar to Sierra's last round, on her coverage of Gwen Shamblin, in that this particular cult leader just passed away as well. Or not just, but within the last couple years. So I'm going to deliver this the best that I can, as gracefully as Sierra did for hers, because it's hard, and, you know, the people might still be feeling the pain of that loss. However, the followers are where we differ, and we will get there. But before we get into that, we are going to hear a quick promo from Ye Olde Crime Podcast with Lindsay and Madison. Be right back.
Do you love true crime, but are looking for something different?
It sounds like a sitcom.
It does.
The Benders.
The kind of assholes you should probably leave them alone.
Do you like learning about cases so off the wall they can't possibly be true?
Her wig is enormous, but it is lifted off her head by a monkey.
Do you love history, but want to hear about what they didn't teach you in school? It's just got a almost where you hang your horns sign.
Do you like laughing awkwardly about cases that are bizarre and a little strange?
They'd be able to wield so many knives with all of their little arms.
Then we have the podcast for you. Join me, Lindsay.
And me, Madison, for Ye Olde Crime,
where we discuss the funny, strange, and obscure crimes of yesteryear.
Listen every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts.
And we'll see you next time with another tale
as old as crime.
Welcome back, Twisted Humans. Get your wine glasses, because you're gonna need them. This case is, it's a ride. I'm sure Sierra has heard of it, just because I know she's heard of a lot of cults. This particular cult story is a patron pick, so I just want to give a big thank you to Justin for suggesting this one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I sent him a message, and he was like, I just wanted to say, thank you so much for engaging with your patrons as much as you guys do. It's really rare, even with your listeners, so thank you. That means a lot, because it goes both ways for us, because we love hearing from you guys, so otherwise we're just talking to each other and putting a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
So we like to know that you guys are enjoying it.
Obviously, patrons get first pick on story ideas because they're literally paying us, so we owe them everything. They're our bosses. However, my next episode is also a Patreon pick, but if you all, as just, normal everyday listeners, we know not everybody can afford to help out in monetary ways. If you want to suggest topics
reviews
as well.
Yeah. And yes, topic suggestions are great because it lets us know what you want to hear as our listeners. So,
Right.
you are our audience. It's like requesting a song at a trashy dive bar.
Why bars gotta be trashy?
I don't know, because my favorite dive bars are trashy. So, yes, this cult kind of sucks.
Don't they all? Except for ours.
Yeah, except for our
Trash
cult, this little
humanism.
cult. Yes. Be your trashy selves. I had a wine claw right before this, so enjoy, guys.
I have a mini Nutella jar that I'm eating Nutella out of with my finger.
Okay, now I gotta move you back to where you were, because I need to see that. Why is it so teeny? Oh my goodness.
It was a stocking stuffer.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
And it's glass.
That's
I love it.
impressive. I love that. That's some quality material right now. So today I'm going to be telling you, while Sierra eats her Nutella, about Annie Hamilton-Byrne. I've also read it as Anne Hamilton-Byrne. However, my mother-in-law's name is Anne, so I'm going to refer to her as Annie throughout this because I saw it both ways. I think that's kind of like a nickname, kind of like I call Sierra S. People named Anne get called Annie. I think that makes sense. So. I am telling you about Annie Hamilton-Byrne and the family.
The family.
The family, yes.
Okay.
In the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, there was a toxic blend of Christianity, Hinduism, and New Age mysticism that came to meet under the guidance of Annie Hamilton-Byrne. She was born Evelyn Edwards. I couldn't find where her new name came from, whether it was her middle name or a name that she chose herself, in 1921, in a one-road farming settlement 2 hours east of Melbourne in Australia.
There's so many the families.
I know. I saw a couple. It actually made my research a little bit difficult. I'm not blaming you, Justin, because it was a really good case suggestion, and I'm glad I know about this now. Yes, he just gave me her name. He didn't call it the family. I learned that through my research, yeah. But yes, you were right. There's one in Japan called the family. There's one out of the U.S. called the family. It's just, I mean, like, if you're going to make a call, at least make an original name out of it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Evelyn/Annie, her mother Florence was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia when she was quite young after trying to set her own hair on fire in the middle of the street.
That's interesting.
It's a move, for sure. It made me want to hold my hair for dear life. When I read that.
I
lit my hair on fire? I did when we were recording an Urban Legend episode.
Oh, yeah.
And you there was judgment for sure.
Yeah, well, I've also lit my hair on fire. So.
Okay, so no
when I was
judgment.
a teenager.
Oh, okay. So
not an adult.
Not currently. Okay, we're just going to skip past that. Again, Patreon plug. I lit my hair on fire during one of our Urban Legends because we make it all spooky in here.
But neither of us have lit our hair on fire on purpose.
No.
Like this lady.
Yes, exactly.
Like Evelyn's mother.
I think that's the key point to whether or not you are mentally doing all right. If anybody has ever smelled burning hair, also, you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
But poor Florence, we're in the 1920s here. We know that, mental health stigmas are very much still a thing in 2022. So imagine what she was going through then. And this part makes me really sad, especially after we recorded our episode last night. She spent the next 27 years in a psychiatric asylum until she eventually passed away.
Ugh. Those places are awful.
Yes. Annie's father was a laborer and would often travel from town to town to find work, which left Annie on her own quite often, and as a result, she spent much of her childhood in orphanages.
That's... okay. Very Australia, I guess.
I don't know. Like, can you just... It's not like a daycare.
Seems like it.
Yeah,
seems like a
apparently
daycare.
Yeah, it's like, I'm just going to drop off my kid for the next 2 months. I'll be back. And I feel for her. You can feel for young Annie at this point, because that sucks.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
Horrible. When she was around 20 years old, she married her first husband. I tried really hard to find his name. I wasn't able to. After this, Annie had suffered a number of miscarriages after the two had decided to have a baby together, and they were talking about adopting a child because of all the time that she had spent in orphanages herself, because they couldn't have a child of their own with ease. But tragically, he died in a car accident before this could come to light.
She can't adopt a kid by herself? I mean, maybe not in the fucking, what is this now, 30s, 40s?
You hang on to that thought, Sierra.
Okay.
You hang on to that thought with your Nutella.
Mm-hmm.
She found peace and healing through her practice of yoga beginning in the 1960s. And I totally understand this. I practice it myself. I find it to be very healing, so I understand why this would be a good mental escape for her, not from herself, rather. I mean, sometimes it can be both. She loved the connections that she made there, and finally she felt like she found the family that she never did that. Did that just fall on your lap?
On my shirt.
Oh no! Do you have a little splooge? Oh, splooge. Well, now all of you watching on our YouTube channel get to watch Sierra lick that off of her shirt.
All of them got to see it fall. Like, that was the scary part. Okay.
You guys, even if you've listened to the episodes, just go watch the shit that happens on YouTube. I guarantee you'll find something to make fun of or laugh at or enjoy us more for. Who knows? May it be setting our hair on fire or Nutella.
Mm-hmm.
She felt like she had the family that she never got to have with her classes, which again, I totally get. She loved it so much that she started to teach as well. This allowed her to eventually prey on vulnerable middle-class women in similar situations to herself, however, and she had a ready supply of followers as a result. The beginnings of the cult are unclear, but very quickly Annie transitioned from yoga teacher to New Age guru. To give herself even more weight as their leader, Annie also claimed that she was the female incarceration of Jesus Christ.
Why?
Couldn't tell you. She also
I can tell you right now that if you're going to have a fucking cult and you're going to try and entice me, don't use Christianity in it. Like, that's already a thing, lady. Jesus is already a part of a different religion. Find your own person.
Right? If you're going to create
the aliens or something.
Oh, God. Be original. Jesus. No pun intended. She also claimed to have found the secret to eternal happiness and fulfillment in the life that these women were currently living and the next life. She also claimed to have been of royal descent and owning castles in Europe, so I guess it's really hard to prove otherwise in the 1960s when there's no internet.
Yeah, it also sounds like she's just taking, like, everything she's ever heard people worship people for and be like, oh yeah, I did that too.
I'm this,
and
I'm this.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Exactly. I don't get it. In addition to these middle-class women that were in similar situations to herself, she also had quite the following of gay men. Because we're in the 1960s, it wasn't a great place for them to be. So they too wanted to find an escape and love and a family of their own.
I'm surprised she supported that.
Right? She was quite charismatic, as most cult leaders are. She wore pearls, Chanel, fancy perfume, and enjoyed all of the finer things in life.
This is also the reason why I could never be a cult leader, is the fact that, like, I am not very charismatic. I am leave me the fuck alone. Hey, by the way, can I just say, I know some of you have reached out and said hi to me on Instagram. I seriously 100% appreciate it. I'm just not the kind of person who, like, has conversations. So maybe I'll send you some random memes sometime and, like, laugh at them.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Just bear with her. Sometimes, guys, I will text her and I won't hear from her until like 3 days later, so it's fine. So yes. She also played the harp and sang quite often. So you do you.
Random, okay.
Right? Random flex, but okay. The biggest form of manipulation, however, came from her relationship with a Dr. Rayner Johnson, who was Master of Queen's College in Melbourne University. Spiritualism was gaining popularity in scientific circles, and he was nearing retirement and eager to explore something unconventional to his peers. He was especially interested in women who claimed to have extrasensory perception in some way. After working with Annie, he declared her to be the new Messiah, and after experimenting with LSD, purely in the interests of scientific research, he claimed, as recorded in his case notes later on, that, quote, her face became divinely beautiful, with sublime authority, end quote. Later he wrote that she was also, quote, unquestionably the wisest, the serenest, and the most gracious and generous soul that I have ever met, end quote. And I literally just wrote in my notes, gag. I was like, I don't know how to spell that, so I'm just going to write gag.
I mean, it's cute-ish, right? If it's the right reasons. It's obviously not, but it could be cute.
No. And it's very Arthur Conan Doyle-esque to me, and like his interest in spiritualism as a scientist and like author, but also like you're putting all your eggs into the wrong basket, sir.
Yeah.
Johnson and his wife bought a house in Ferny Creek, where Annie was now living. This is where many state that the family was officially born. Having a scientific background and Annie being this quote-unquote divine being, this gave their group some weight, and they were able to recruit many more wealthy, new-aged seeking professionals, including doctors, psychiatrists, lawyers, nurses, and social workers. They held weekly meditation sessions led by Annie, and she also started to give sermons, or discourses, as she referred to them, from a purple throne in a specially built lodge funded by the donations of her followers.
Now this feels like Gwen Shamblin.
Yeah. She totally gave me Gwen Shamblin vibes. If you Google Annie Hamilton-Byrne right now, too, the platinum blonde hair will give you a vibe.
I have to do it now. Hang on.
No, you're doing it. And I just wrote in my notes here, eye roll, because if you're teaching anything from a purple throne, you are way too extra to hang out with us.
Yes.
You were at the wrong podcast. Please continue on your journey. The first children arrived at the family in the early 1970s. Adoption was poorly regulated in Australia, and unmarried motherhood was still carrying a great deal of social stigma. Through her network of followers, all of these esteemed professions, Annie found that it was quite easy to continue to gain followers and to continue to adopt more children. They actually kept the children of the family 2 miles away from the quote-unquote family base where her and Johnson had originally built their homes, on the front of a lake that in front of the lake with water with dark spiky formations of trees sticking out everywhere. It's kind of cool when you think about it. It used to be a field, and because of flooding and stuff in this area, it became a lake. So it kind of sounds like a little bit of a dream, but the horror that ensued there was not. The children, whose numbers eventually grew to 28 kids, including a few babies born to the family members, were homeschooled. Annie wanted to be the perfect mother figure, but she never gave the children the time of day or showed any interest in actually raising them. If she was there when any of the children stepped out of line for even something totally minor, she would beat them with her weapon of choice, which was a stiletto shoe.
Oh my gosh.
Like, fuck you.
Ugh.
Yeah. If anybody has ever worn stilettos on their feet, they know that it doesn't feel good just to wear them as shoes, let alone being hit with one.
Yeah.
She would also have the aunties, quote-unquote, or the adult women in the group inflict punishments on the children if she wasn't there. Many of them later reported that they felt sick and hated doing this, but they were afraid of their own repercussions if they didn't. Which I kind of don't blame them. If kids are getting hit with stiletto shoes.
Yeah, what's going to happen to adults?
Yeah. As well as horrific beatings that make any of the cult's now adult survivors weep as they recall either witnessing this or receiving it themselves. The children were often starved for days for minor infractions, such as getting their clothes dirty, which, like, you're fucking children and you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Or forgetting to turn off a light, for example.
Poor babies.
Yeah, it makes my heart hurt. Quote, denial of food was a very large component of control, end quote, says one survivor of the family, who remembers being so hungry that she raided bins outside of the family and ate leaves. Quote, it's better to keep your victims weak so that they have less ability to fight back, end quote. Many of the survivors also recall being given heavy doses of Mogadon and Valium, which are like basically like tranquilizers. Valium typically is used as an antidepressant or like to calm your nerves.
Right.
I've never heard of Mogadon as a drug before, but I researched it and it has similar properties to Valium. So it's probably whatever her doctors in her family group were able to prescribe.
Yeah.
As children to keep them docile, which is like horrible. You're literally drugging these children. Usually, when they reached the age of 14, they underwent formal initiation to the cult by being given huge, relentless doses of LSD. That LSD is coming back, guys. Some of these LSD trips would last for several days for some members. It was part of the cult's ways, and prolonged doses were even hard for the adult followers, let alone the fucking children.
Yeah.
The LSD was used to break their spirits and quote unquote awaken their minds.
That's so scary.
Yeah. The effects were catastrophic on some of the young teenagers being forced to take this LSD, who later suffered from depression, personality changes, nightmares, social withdrawals, sometimes for months afterwards even.
Yeah.
Which is just horrible. On top of all of their other childhood traumas from being raised in the family with all of this, like I watched some of the interviews of people that were children growing up in the family, and I was like sobbing. I was like, they don't even have the social skills to fully convey what they went through. Like, that's how far down they were beaten and silenced and just,
right.
It's icky.
Twisted and Uncorked will be right back. If you prefer not to listen to ad breaks, head on over to patreon.com/twistedanduncorked for more information on receiving ad-free episodes.
One survivor stated in a later interview, quote, it made me realize the critical importance of love in a child's background.
Oh.
End quote. For most of the children, Annie was the only mother that they had ever had, coming from very, very, very impoverished orphanages. In another interview, one rescued teenager tried to explain how she felt. Quote, it's hard to say how devoted we were to her, how we hung off of her every look and every thought she had about us. We wanted so much for her to love us, but I don't think she ever really did. End quote.
Yuck.
I know. Just tear on your heartstrings
Don't like
here.
it.
The cult's motto was unseen, unknown, and unheard. And as a result, I was going to say Gwen Shamblin. And as a result, Annie Hamilton-Byrne managed to run the family and operate in complete secrecy for over 2 decades. In 1987, 2 of the children managed to escape the family. They ran to authorities and pleaded for help. And this would eventually be Annie's undoing. By the time that the police raid came on the main base, Annie had already done her damage. She had broken up families, she had destroyed marriages, and she had left child victims with lifelong psychological scars. A number of the followers tried to kill themselves, either during their time in the family or after they had escaped, and tragically some did succeed.
Jeez.
Many of the family members came forward later after this raid, claiming that they had been locked in cold sheds for periods of time as punishment, that they had been hit with stiletto shoes, that they had been starved, that they had been locked away for periods of time away from their family members. They lived in their own quarters. They were all forced to dye their hair platinum blonde in order to match Annie's hair.
That's weird.
For many of them, it wasn't their natural hair color, and for them, this was damaging because in the 1960s, you're using heavy bleach to do that. And
what is she, like a fucking Nazi?
yeah, she's like, you all have to look like me if you're going to be my children.
Blonde hair, blue eyes.
She faked numerous pregnancies using homemade smocks and convinced many of these children that she was indeed their real mother. The psychological damage that occurred for these children is unfathomable. Like I said, with some of the interviews that I watched, they don't even have the social skills to convey what they went through. They do not have positive memories of Annie. They only know that they wanted somebody to love them. And that is the most heartbreaking part about the quote-unquote family. In the time leading this cult, Annie accrued an estimated $150 million US through property, land, and cash donations by her followers, hence why she was able to afford this fucking purple throne of hers. Together with her second husband, because like I mentioned, her first husband had passed away in a car accident, and businessman throughout all of this, his name was Bill Byrne, whom one ex-follower described as a, get ready to laugh, as a quote-unquote handsome, rich, compliant handbag.
Reminds me of Gwen Shamblin's husband, actually.
Right? Where do these women come from where they just beat these poor men into, like, submission?
Yeah. Well,
Jesus.
At least in the case of Gwen Shamblin, it seems like he wanted it, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, as long as you give me money, I'll do whatever you want.
Right?
So.
Not a lot is known about Bill Byrne. I wonder if he, kind of lassoed himself onto this crazy rodeo because of the money that was coming in through family donations, or if he actually loved her, or if he believed in what she was doing. Nothing really is clear on where or why he came into fruition, but he did. So that's my new favorite insult, compliant handbag.
It's perfect. It makes sense.
Right? It suits it very well. At this point, they were disgustingly wealthy, and with overseas properties in Kent and upstate New York, Annie managed to hide her whereabouts for 2 years after the police raid. She was eventually extradited to Australia from the US in 1993 to face get ready to be mad, Sierra. To face charges of conspiracy to defraud fake birth certificates, which she did in all of these adoptions. She received a $5,000 fine, but no jail time.
That's it?
Mm-hmm. No jail time, because after a heavy psychological evaluation, she was showing early signs of dementia. I get it, but at the same time, I feel like she should have to pay restitution at the very least to all of her followers with the millions that she had managed to amass over the years. Over 3 decades, these people were donating to her quote-unquote group, and all she had to pay was $5,000.
I don't understand any of the justice systems. I don't get it.
Mind you, if any of our listeners in Australia which we have quite a few, including our beloved patron Kylie. If any of you guys know more about this case that maybe I didn't find in my research via like local information, why they went this way, I don't know. It makes me really sad. It makes me mad. For 30 years, she collected money from these people. She abused these people. She made them feel as though they had a family when they really didn't. And all she gets away with is a $5,000 fine. And I'm
which was
sensitive.
Probably super fucking easy because she had all their money.
Exactly. And I'm very sensitive to the fact that dementia is a very serious disease. Who knows how long before that some of that started to creep through. However, you ruined people's lives. In 2007 and in 2009, two of the surviving families sued Annie, and they did win.
Good.
This was Cynthia Chan and Rebecca Cook Hamilton, her very own granddaughter. Not sure how she's related because I still couldn't figure out where the Hamilton came from. Probably some crazy incestuous behavior throughout this group. I don't know.
Or maybe she just like gave kids she adopted her last name and this one never
maybe
changed
that makes sense. So these two lawsuits, the amount that was settled is conflicting in various sources, but what I wrote in my notes is we can almost guarantee that it wasn't enough for the pain that they suffered. Regardless of what it wasn't enough. While her dementia took a hold on her, her victims have come to terms with the fact that she will never be brought to account fully for her actions, as she is no longer of sound mind, and then I wrote in brackets, if she ever was.
Yeah, that's a weird line too, because if she wasn't, then she doesn't deserve, prison, per se. I'm glad she's getting help if the only reason she did this is because she needed help in the first place. But it doesn't really seem like that was the case. Yeah.
I think that this is a very, very... Dementia is a very tragic disease. It typically onsets in, late 50s, early 60s for most people. It's heartbreaking. I've watched people go through it. My mother-in-law has a very rare form of dementia. It's hard to watch somebody that knew you so well forget your name and to not be able to speak and to not be able to convey what they're feeling. However, I don't think that was the case for her for much of the family reign. I think it was mostly towards the end. And
yeah, it seemed like it.
Yeah. Annie Hamilton-Byrne died at the age of 98.
God dang, she lived forever.
Yeah. In 2019, at a care home in Melbourne following the 12-year battle with dementia. Very severe dementia for 12 years. Many people that went to interview her about her involvement with the family mentioned that whenever they would go to visit her or try and talk to her, one, they weren't allowed to ask specific questions or to use it for specific things because of her dementia. It would be considered what's the word I'm looking for? Like against her rights. Like it's not okay to use something that she says under that type of duress. As, like, for example, when they released the documentary about this case, which I actually didn't get the chance to watch. It's on Hulu, from what I saw. It was released in 2018. Okay. It looks to be really good. Cough, cough, Sierra, if you want to check it out.
Probably will.
I didn't get the chance to check it out, but I know that many of these people were trying to interview her for that, and they were entering the nursing home, and they weren't able to ask her certain questions because of it.
Right.
Every time they went as well, she was also seen nursing a plastic baby doll.
That's kind of really spooky.
It is really spooky. I don't know if that's her trying to hold on to, like, wanting to have a family or...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Seems like she's, like, obsessed with having
children.
A child.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah.
So that is the case of the family and Annie Hamilton-Byrne in Melbourne, Australia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Melbourne. By the way.
It's not Melbourne?
No, they pronounce it Melbourne.
Oh. Well, I've been pronouncing it wrong this entire time. Kylie, god damn it.
I think it's an accent thing.
I think it is as well. I think you're right. So apologies to our Australian listeners then, because they were probably cringing at the beginning before Sierra corrected me. I am sorry. I am sorry. And in terms of how they felt about her death, many were quoted as saying, "Let her rot." So they do not have good feelings towards her. I can't say I blame them, but at the same time,
either.
I don't wish to speak ill of the dead. So that's just my preference for conducting myself, but I don't blame them. I didn't get hit by this woman. I didn't get starved by this woman. So you do you. Whatever you choose to say is your story.
Kidnapped.
Yeah, absolutely. Illegally adopted, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Not great. I guess I don't want to say rest in peace because it sounds like he did a lot of shitty stuff. I hope that the people that had suffered during this whole process are able to get the help that they deserve. When I read that many people had completed suicide, it broke my heart. So,
yeah.
And I think it's very similar in any cult case we've ever covered. There's lasting damage that ripples beyond what they had led. So I'm really glad that this group came to an end with her death, and that it wasn't carried on by anybody else. And I hope that they're all able to live wonderful lives and be loved by people that really love them.
I agree. That was sad.
Right? I know. Cult cases suck, guys. If you have a happy cult that you will let me cover, keep Sierra out of it because she has her aliens involved. Send it my way because I haven't seen one that I didn't see Sierra cover or I didn't think Sierra would want to cover. So I want a happy cult. Give me a happy cult. Give me the hippie smoking weed cults. Come on. But yes, thank you again, Justin, for suggesting this. As much as it was sad, it was really good for us to hear about it and for the victims of this group their stories to be uplifted and all of that. So yeah, thank you again. If you have a case suggestion, again, send it to us on our email, twisteduncorked@gmail.com, or you can send it through our website, twisteduncorked.com. There's a little contact us button, and you can send us a suggestion. We'd love to hear what you guys want to hear. And Sierra, before we roll on out this week, what day is it today?
Today is April 5th, Nope. I almost told you a year. Today is April 5th, and on this day, in 1965, it was declared that this day will be Lava Lamp Day.
Yes!
So, go find yourself a lava lamp.
The 90s kid in me feels this so hard. Did you have a lava lamp when you were younger?
Oh, for sure. The crazy thing is I can't find that it is Lava Lamp Day. I can only find that on April 5th in 1965 specifically, it was Lava Lamp Day. Wow. So I don't know if it gets like one day of all eternity or if April 5th every day is Lava Lamp, or every year is Lava Lamp Day.
I think April 5th of every year should be Lava Lamp Day.
I agree. It's just not the way it's worded, so I'm confused.
Well, we're starting here.
It's Lava Lamp Day, trash humans.
Yeah, I was going to say we're putting our trash humanism flag in it, and since I called a pledge for artwork, if you guys want to make us a trash humanism flag.
I was just about to say that.
That would be so fucking awesome.
Speaking of, please create this.
Yeah, make us a trash humanism flag. Get your wine claws, get your, questionable, I ate Burger King in my bathtub the other day. Like, just do you, okay? Life's too short. Go back and listen to our 1 year anniversary for some more inspiration on that. And
it's all about self-care in the strangest, trashiest ways.
I love it. I love it so
even
much.
Afterlife care. Yeah. Do not trash yourself in the ground, okay? Compost yourself, please. Thank you.
Yeah, be a tree, okay? Be a coral reef. If you want to go back to episode, I think like 20, Sierra told us you can be a coral reef if you want to.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh, that was a good fun fact.
I found today, sorry,
sure.
just to end this. I found today these coffins, caskets, whatever you want to call them, that are made instead of out of wood or metal, they're made out of mushrooms, so they decompose with your body. But then someone commented and was like, but what if you're murdered and they have to dig up your body in 3 years to find out how you were murdered? And so now there's a new caveat. If I die of natural / obvious causes, then
I would like
need
a
to
mushroom casket.
Right.
Otherwise,
or
I would like a
composted
regular
or turn
casket.
into a tree. Yeah. Otherwise, you better leave me in that fucking morgue on ice until my murder is solved. And like with 100% accuracy. None of that, there's doubt, but it's not reasonable. Like 100% accuracy. Don't fucking put someone in prison who might be innocent. I don't like that shit.
No, we don't want innocent people to go to jail for us.
Also,
I feel
when
like
you do
we're
put
gonna
them in prison,
Sierra, I feel like we have
unless
to
it's-
write a will.
I know. Even if I get murdered, when they go to prison, unless it's a serial killer, I want them to be reformed, okay? I don't want them to rot forever in jail, all right?
She's asking
It's
for a
just-
lot, guys. I know.
They need a
but
second
she's-
chance.
She's being
Give them
selfless.
15 years and that's it.
No, if somebody
Fix
murders
them.
No, if somebody murders you, I'm gonna fucking burn them myself.
No.
Yes.
No. I will come back and haunt you, okay?
You're gonna haunt me.
You don't do that.
If you were murdered, you're gonna haunt me anyway. Are you kidding me?
Listen, I'm not about this. Don't you remember
I
my
know.
bonus episode on Centolia Brown? Go check that out on Patreon.
I know. I just don't like it, okay?
I don't like people having sentences where they can't be reformed.
I agree, but I also don't want my best friend to be murdered. So maybe just don't murder Sierra, future murderers.
Please don't murder me.
Yeah, please
Future
don't.
murderers.
Future murderers, please leave Sierra alone. Because I need her.
Thanks.
That would be great. And I won't honor her wishes. I will light you on fire.
So do my children. My children need me. Humanizing myself.
Exactly. No, Sierra, save
In
that
case
for
they're
when
listening.
Save that for when you're kidnapped, okay?
Okay, sorry.
But yeah, yeah,
Anyway.
I don't even know how to bounce back from this.
Anyway, next week we have another super special Patreon requested episode.
Woo! Send
We'll see
your
you
case
then.
suggestions our way, and in the meantime, don't get murdered, and we love you.
Keep it twisted.
Thank you for listening to Twisted and Uncorked podcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you are listening now. It really is the best way to spread the word. You can also check out all of our sources and materials, as well as photos for the episode, on our website at twistedanduncorked.com. And you can follow us on social media at Twisted and Uncorked or Twisted_pod on Twitter. Thank you so much for all of your love and support, and we will see you next Tuesday for a brand new episode. Cheers!